the biggest thing for me, the biggest trauma, is when you have an episiotomy and somebody snips you while you're giving birth in order for you to give birth more easily. So you then got stitches in a very major part of your body, which is very, very painful. That was the main thing I found that nobody ever told me. And then you look it up on the internet afterwards and they say, yeah, it's kind of like a female castration because it can really affect your life hugely in ways that you never imagined. Something that I think happens very frequently while giving birth, bless you, is that particularly if you've got a large baby or if things don't seem to be progressing well, or often if you're being shouted at to push and you're very anxious and tense and the baby's not coming, but the head can be seen, very often they say, we're just going to cut you, is that okay? And at the time you say yes because you're in such agony that you think whatever it will take to get this baby out at this stage because you're really quite desperate and in a lot of pain. And then it's only afterwards that you realise the significance of what has been done to you. Now, the trouble is the alternative to being cut is that you just naturally tear, which can be really very bad. So there's a lot on the internet about should we do this or should we do that, but it seems very common that people just agree to be cut. What that then means is you have a lot of stitches in a very sore place, and it's agony. I'm not going to lie, it was really, really hard for me. It was really hard to sit, it was hard to stand, it was hard to walk. It's something you have to pay attention to every time you go to the toilet. And it's not spoken about. I texted my friend and said, is this normal? Should I be in this much pain? And she said yes. And no one had suggested any pain medication. You're just kind of expected to get on with it. And for me, that had a huge impact on how I felt immediately after I'd given birth and made me miserable. I had a conversation with my gynaecologist just before this birth actually to say that I really hoped I wouldn't be cut this time around, but I really fully expected to be because I have been with my last two and I tend to have big babies. And she said to me, well, it's no big deal, it's just a little cut. And I said, well, have you ever had one? And she said, no, I do them. I said, well, yeah, of course for you. It's really easy just to snip someone. But I said, you know, if you've gone through it yourself, you'd see it very differently, trust me.